Welcome to Sage Sisters. We are sisters, besties, moms, and co-founders having a fun catch-up on parenting and life. Hey, I'm Ann.
And I'm Kate. Welcome to a new episode of the Sage Sisters podcast. I'm happy to get into it today, Ann.
Me too. My setup is lovely because you helped me fix it. But sometimes over the weekend, my kids will come in and move my table, and I feel like I'm getting whacked with this microphone today. I didn't realize it until like now, but it's like right in my face.
Well, you were very loud. I know you get sensitive when I tell you you're being loud because this is a long-standing trigger of yours. But earlier I was like, God, you're blowing out my eardrums.
Blame my kids, not me.
Mm-hmm. Always blame others.
Well, I'm excited about the topic today. Do you want to go ahead and tease it for everyone?
I'm so excited because we have an amazing guest, Vanessa Kroll Bennett. She has a podcast called This Is So Awkward and a website called Less Awkward. But basically, she's a puberty expert. So we're going to ask her a ton of questions about what we're going through with our own kids, what's coming, how to get them ready. So I'm very excited for this one.
I have a feeling the questions are going to be flowing. I've got a lot on this topic. So
Same. Yeah, same.
I'm excited.
And I'm in the thick of it, trying to...
What do they say? Same girl, same.
Same girl, same. All right, let's get into it though. What's your high?
My high is we had a great weekend and it was filled with a lot of golf, which is fun. So my son had a golf tournament and he ended up winning. That's not like the high, but we have been working on positivity and going out there on the golf course, and it's a mental game and it's a game of mistakes. So it really is hard to keep your emotions in check. And he just was having so much fun. He was playing great. He was flowing. And it's just so fun to see your kid do something and have that positive attitude. And he was like cheering on others. I was just so proud of him.
Is golf like resilience training? Because even for myself, nothing can like be more frustrating than missing an easy putt or something.
I have been talking to him since he got into it seriously. Phil. I said it so weird. Phil and I have been talking to Ace about this all the time. Like, got to stay positive. And, it's just about having fun. And when that starts to go, then you can't enjoy the game. And then I went out and played golf with Phil. And I like had the worst hole. And I was like, this game sucks. It's just like...
Yeah, it's a perfect training ground for him, though.
It's great. And in that, our family's getting into it. So we took the girls out to just hit balls and practice. And watching Lily and Lola swing the club and get better is also just, it's like really, I can see it being our family activity. It's so lovely.
I just love a physical family activity.
Mm-hmm, me too.
Amazing.
And is there anything cuter? I will post the video. But Lily, my 4-year-old, swinging the golf club and learning is the sweetest thing.
It's cute.
That little age.
You posted like a video. Why does she also look like she has a better swing than me?
No, because she's dynamite. I mean, it's hilarious. It's like 4-year-olds pick up on stuff quicker. And I was just showing her a little bit of the footwork and things. And all of a sudden she was just ripping them. And I was like,
I do think golf is like skiing and swim, where it's like if you learn early, or languages, it's like learn early and it's like way easier. If you wait, it's like nothing feels natural.
And I just saw something that it was talking about. It was talking about women and girls. But women and girls have such more confidence in the workspace if you've introduced them to golf. They don't have to necessarily play. And even now, it's kind of like old school to think you go out and play golf with business partners and things, but it still exists. And the opportunity to get on the golf course in the workplace is still happening, where they say they have such a better chance of success if they are just comfortable to be even confident out there and play a little bit.
Well, I kind of thought it was a boondoggle, but at Stanford Business School, I took a golf class for credit. It was where I first learned, though.
Boom, baby. And it works, right?
I have to say, I haven't had, I guess at conferences, they'll have like a golf tournament before that's optional. And if you do it, it's like good networking.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe a few times in my career. I will say, even just though with my male colleagues, we'll golf and it's fun. And connecting, again, like a physical activity to bond with your coworkers is like a fun thing.
100%. Nowadays, it comes up more as an activity with people or networking with people. Like I'll meet new people on the golf course and it will turn into work things.
Yeah.
But, in the wine industry, we used to take people out all the time for golfing.
Well,
and,
wine ya, dine ya.
Wine ya, dine ya, golf. Golf swing.
I was trying to hit 9 ya, but that didn't
Oh,
quite.
you should have went for it. I
was
would have
close.
loved it.
It was close, but
Yeah. Anyways,
we'll keep working on that one.
Well, what is your high?
We also had a nice chill weekend, and it was kind of nice. We didn't have a swim meet. So usually now we're like, our weeks are anchored by these massive swim meets, but it felt very relaxing because of that. And my kids are fine. We made it to summer. They got out of school last Thursday. It felt like the last week of like whipping me around. And now it's like new schedule.
You're here. You've made it. I've been here for 3 weeks now. I cannot believe that this is your first week of summer, but welcome.
It feels good though. And we had it like perfect. We did our last bocce game, adults only, Friday night. It was so fun. And we actually won. We had lost every game this season. And I don't want to say it was because I sent that Deion Sanders locker room pump up speech to my bocce team before.
You have to explain yourself really quickly, but this is my favorite pump up. Let's tell the backstory here.
Okay. When Ann and I were even starting Sage Sisters, I sent you this clip because I am such a athlete nerd, but it's like these locker room pump up speeches will get me hyped for like a Zoom call. I'm like, let's go. Deion Sanders, who's the head football coach of Colorado now and like an all timer, amazing athlete, gave this speech a couple years ago that was just like,
it's our time.
It's our time.
And it had music to it. It's great.
It was, I get chills listening to it, but I was just being silly, but I sent it to my bocce team who was like 0-7. And we won. I'm just saying, we won.
It worked. It's working. Well, I will post it on stories or something because it is hilarious. And the very first Zoom call we ever did with Sage Haven, we played this to like get pumped up. And so like every year we'll play it as like a, callback. It's awesome.
It's great. So we did that. And then Saturday was super chill and we just had the neighbors over and I don't know. I had a lovely chill weekend, which is not how they all are.
Well, you're in summertime, baby. Yes. Welcome.
Yes. What's your low?
We had a low of, I had 2 lows, to be honest with you. We do indoor soccer league. It's just kind of silly. It's kind of like make what you can. Ace is in indoor soccer. It's fun. Make what you can, casual. There's not even practices. You just go to the game. It's wonderful. But we were like 3 minutes until the game ends. And Lily was sitting on my lap almost the whole game. And this little girl came over around her age and wanted to play with her. So we were kind of pushing her like, go play. And I mean, not a minute later, did she jump off the back of the bleachers? And it's like a 3 level. It's not very high, but 3 levels in. She was wearing her little high heels. Busted her nose and lip, blood everywhere. Oh, no. It looked horrific. I mean, she actually ended up being okay. And like once the nose kind of died down and the lip was a little swollen for a few days, but they recovered quickly. But it looked awful. Like Phil went over and grabbed her and he had blood everywhere. There was blood all over the ground. Parents were looking at us like we were just like the worst. Awful. And it's like, she was literally on my lap the whole time. I mean, this happened out of nowhere. And it
always happens in the last minute or two.
That's what it was. So it was just chaos. And there's nothing worse than feeling your kids, like seeing your kids hurt and then also feeling the guilt. It was bad.
It's a 1-2 punch.
That wasn't great. And then this happened the other day, which you'll appreciate. So I've been saying a lot how we've been working out with our kids and stuff and lifting weights. And Lola the other day was like talking about, she's like, Mom, do you think I'm strong? I'm like, I think you're really strong, and this is what we do. We keep working to get stronger. And she was like, I want to be strong like you. And I was like, that is so sweet.
Yeah.
And she followed it by saying,
oh no, I'm
but
nervous.
Do you think I can be pretty and strong? Can you be beautiful and strong? And I was like, whoa. What the F? I was like, so do you not think I'm beautiful? You just think I'm strong? It was so funny. And she kind of took a moment to pause and tried to reword it. And I was just laughing. And then of course I just like let it go and was like, of course, strength is beauty. And that's, I went into this whole spiel, but inside I was like, oh, that was a gut wrench.
That's tough. That's tough. Yeah, it wasn't obvious to her that
I would have preferred the beautiful and then can you be strong too comment, not the other way around, I think.
Can I just say though, these beauty standards like just eking into our kids so young. I'm like, dang it, beauty is strong. Come on.
I know.
Got our work cut out with us in this society.
Well, Yeah, and we keep talking about them having confidence, but nothing was a confidence blow like that comment.
Yeah, they could be savages.
Yeah. All right. What's your low?
Well, May really bitch slapped me, like just several times. Like I was so exhausted, so many kid things. Work was a chaos. I just felt like, but you know how you have this moment where you zoom out and your house just looks horrific. I had that moment where I was like, how can we live here? So I cleaned from dawn till dusk on Saturday. I did, I don't know, 4+ loads of laundry, and just, it needed to be done. It felt good.
Yeah, you whipped it back into shape.
I whipped it back into shape, but then I was just like, oh God, that was a whole day of cleaning.
Yeah.
I let that get so bad.
Well, you know what though? There's nothing better than the feeling afterwards, because I can't function when I'm like that. That's the problem.
I let it get bad because life was getting away from me a little bit, and I reeled it back in, so it feels good. But man, it was a day of cleaning. You never should let it get as bad as I let it get.
Yeah, that's the lesson here, people. That's the lesson.
I have a laundry question for you.
Okay.
Sunday I had a tennis match, and they were like, let's wear all white. And I was like, I couldn't possibly wear all white. All my whites are different colors of light gray. Like, what are we talking about? We can't wear, they won't match.
You're not doing your laundry right.
Well, are you separate whites and darks?
Yeah, I think that's 101. I'm pretty sure that's laundry 101. Like if we typed it into Claude.
And then what are you doing for these whites to not let them get gray? Are you putting OxyClean in there? Are you bleaching them?
We do have OxyClean, but I haven't used it in whites for a while. But I will say, like, I love a good white t-shirt, like a nice fitting Vince one, or, just whatever. But you have to replace those often. It's almost better to get a less expensive brand and replace them, because it doesn't matter how expensive it is. You will not keep that white as you want for a crisp white t-shirt.
I just bought an expensive little white tee that was perfect. This thing is like legit gray. It looks like it's gray now.
I cannot believe you are mixing your colors and whites. I can't believe it. Of course it's gray. I'm surprised it's not brown. It's crazy talk.
I didn't think we had to do that in 2026. We still have to separate our laundry.
Doesn't matter if your water's cold. It's still going to bleed through a little bit.
That's what I was doing.
Don't tell me. Do you put towels in with clothes?
Sometimes. So you have, but this is so much laundry.
Yeah, I know, but I do laundry every day to keep up with it.
That's crazy. Okay. All right. Also, maybe I shouldn't even say this one because I'm going to look like a total snot.
Okay.
But
okay.
I kind of hate shopping at outlets. Do you have an outlet mall? I went yesterday and I hadn't been to an outlet in a while, and it was called Premium Outlets. And I was like, maybe this will be a fine experience. I had an hour to kill in between dropping off a kid for a birthday and my tennis match. I'm like, let me go check out these outlets. It was a zoo. Did you know they actually create lines outside the store because there's so many people in the store? You have to wait to get in.
That's gross. I don't like lines. The outlets I'm fine with. I love an outlet. To be honest with you though, I don't have a ton of outlets around me. I haven't been to an outlet mall in a long time.
I'm like, this is like, maybe there's people doing it for just the joy of it. I never have been one to like a Marshall's where I'm digging. Like I'm not a digger. It's like I like to be more thoughtful. Also, they get you with these gimmicks, these promo gimmicks. It's like, well, buy one, it's 40, but you buy three, it's 60. And
that's where
and then it's
I
like,
thrive in that. I thrive in that environment. But you have always been the motto of like more expensive, less items. And we always laugh because your Christmas list is like, I would like this $400 shirt. And we're like, no one's buying you that $400 shirt. Give me a $50 item.
Yeah, but I'm like, pull it together and give me one thing I actually want that I'll keep for a decade. You guys, I swear you all spend way more on clothes than I do. I just buy fewer, better items.
I don't think so. I really don't think so because, I'd like to I'm going to start jotting it down. Yeah, I was going to say, let's start jotting down the amount here.
You pop in a boutique and get a little doop.
Listen, just because we have a wedding next weekend, I popped in a boutique and showed you some options. I don't go shopping that often. I haven't even been to Target to grab anything off of the rack in like a very long time.
Have you seen this Instagram my friends were all sharing, but it was like the women who can't say budget. They're like, budget? Budget?
No, but
Anyways,
send it to me. I want to
yeah,
send it
it's
to
right.
Phil.
I'm going to send it to Phil and myself.
Yeah.
And I need him to come on here and talk about the shopping. But honestly, the bottom line, outlet shopping. Ew. That's how I feel.
Okay. I don't like lines though. I will agree with you in the lines, but the actual shopping of a deal, I love that.
I just feel like you end up buying stuff you don't really need because it's a deal.
I don't know.
Okay.
You gotta be
all right,
strict with
let's
it.
move on here. What's the everything's not awful?
I
That's
just
not the right tune for it, but
way off actually. It wasn't even close.
Well, it's everything's
not awful. That's kind of more like it.
That wasn't it either, I don't think. Okay. We
Anyways,
need to listen again.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Kay will go home and put that music in here for us. But listen, I thought this story was quite lovely. And the comment section is what really made me put this in the everything's not awful section.
Okay.
There was a female golfer, Madeline Stagstrom, pretty close. Okay. And she is 7 months pregnant. And she is still competing in the U.S. Women's Open that just happened this past weekend at Riviera.
I saw this. What a baddie.
A baddie. And I was just like kind of stunned by it. Really was like rooting for her. Loved seeing all the videos. And in the comments, it made me even more happy. It was all women are awesome. Like women can do everything. And, you know, men and women going back and forth in the comment section, and all of them, almost all of them were positive, which is amazing. And I just thought it is true. Like we're badass, you know, she's a badass. And to go out there and compete at that level. And I think she ended up 11 over and missed the cut by like 3 or something.
Okay.
But she did great
to compete on that
level. And it's one of the harder courses. I loved it. It gave me all the good feels. And then the comment section really took it to the next level.
All right. Women supporting women. Love it.
Let's go.
Okay. Well, let's get into our topic. We have an amazing guest, Vanessa Kroll Bennett. She's basically all things puberty expert, and we have many questions. So let's bring her in. We are so excited to introduce our guest today. Vanessa Kroll Bennett is a best-selling author of an amazing book we're going to talk all about. They have an amazing podcast, This Is So Awkward, but we're basically bringing in the heavy hitters to talk all things puberty. So Vanessa, excited to have you.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
We're pumped.
Thanks for being here. Yeah. So before we get started, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background and kind of how you got into this work?
How did I get into the puberty business? You mean not
exactly.
It's not a standard career path. So about over a decade ago, I started a company called Dynamo Girl, and I used social emotional learning and like basic sports instruction to build girls' self-esteem. I ran classes for elementary school age girls across New York. And it was an effort to counteract what all the research was telling us, that around the age of 9, girls' self-esteem plummets and never to recover in their lifetimes. And at the time, my daughter...
Devastating.
Yeah, it was devastating. At the time, my daughter was... When I started sort of thinking about this company, my daughter was like 5 or 6. And I was like, no. This does not have to be like a fait accompli. I'm going to do something about that. So I started this company and ended up coaching thousands of girls. But like in the beginning, it was just these sweet little classes. And I started to notice that the girls in our program were in puberty, and they were like 2nd and 3rd grade girls, 8, 9. And I was really surprised because when I grew up, when you guys grew up, that, girls went into puberty like around 11. So I thought, well, if we're trying to build their self-esteem, if we don't talk to them about puberty and we don't talk to their parents about puberty, that's like a real roadblock to building self-esteem. So we started running, me and my colleagues, social workers, guidance counselors, all the folks that had helped me build Dynamo Girl, we started running puberty workshops for originally girls and their parents, and later kids of all genders and their parents. And it was just amazing. Like, it was The science was exciting. Everybody felt so connected. I loved talking about stuff that like nobody else wanted to talk about. And so was running these workshops, and then was connected to Cara, my partner, and in all things. This is so awkward and less awkward. And we were like, let's work together. And so we started a podcast because Cara had written the Care and Keeping of You books. And so she was like puberty royalty.
Which is amazing.
It's an amazing book. And then she wrote Guy Stuff, which are the boy equivalent books. And I was like, I'm not worthy. Like, she's like puberty famous. And we just totally hit it off and decided to start a podcast. It was originally called the Puberty Podcast, and we talked about like all the fundamental information, science, and guidance that people needed to know who were raising kids in puberty. And then we wrote our book, This Is So Awkward. And then we just over the last couple of years have written a health and sex ed curriculum that's in schools. Because when we went on our book tour, we noticed.
Thank you for your service, because that is not well executed.
It's not.
Most places.
It's not. And it's not that like a lot of places want to do it well. It's just a really hard thing to do well. And it's intimidating for teachers, and it's challenging for administrators, and, you know, parents have all sorts of feelings and thoughts about it. And so as sort of like the trusted puberty experts in the country, we were like, we're in a good position to write this. People trust us to give them science-based facts and information in a way that feels digestible, relatable, 100%. Enjoyable. So that's our latest. I mean, if you had told me, you know, over a decade ago that this is where I would be in my work, I would have been surprised, excited, but surprised that this is where the journey led.
Well, it's just so needed. I mean, you know, as parents, we just don't want to get into these hard topics because they can be, I mean, I love your title. It's like they can be awkward. You almost think, am I getting into it too soon? I don't want to expose them too much. But then it's like, I want to be the one talking to them about it. And I would like to get ahead of it a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, people feel really intimidated by it. A lot of folks weren't raised talking about these topics. I mean, you know, I've got two sisters here. You all can tell me what happened in your growing up, but like for most people, it wasn't covered. It was maybe one talk. It was maybe a little bit in school. And you know, these days parents really want to talk to their kids about it, but there's just like an avalanche of information coming at folks, and they're not sure what information to trust. They don't know what's accurate. And they're a little bit overwhelmed by the prospect of having the conversations, but they so want to give their kids what they need. And so that's really what we're here to help people do.
Well, I love the doctor angle and the educator angle. And I think like one thing when we found you guys, it was like, oh, the voice is, and we kind of do this at Sage Sisters and Sage Haven, but it's like, we also sometimes cover heavy topics, like how to navigate tech with your kids, how to talk to your kids about porn, how to get all these parental controls set up. It's like, sometimes parents I just would rather not think about this. But we try to have a tone of voice that's sort of like, you can do this. And like, let's not make it awkward. Let's kind of do it in bite size. So what I love about you guys is it has that same tone. It's like, let's break it down. You can do this. Like, this doesn't need to be this awkward monstrosity. If you do it well, this is just taking care of your body. And that's what we do as parents. And we teach you. And
well, the big thing that's so interesting to me is that across all of those major topics, the same thing is there. The underlying, it's happening younger. So they said, you know, in all of our background research with tech, 9 is the new 13, which is horrifying. And it's like the same thing with puberty. It's like it's starting earlier. You know, we don't feel as prepared. And, you know, going back to like our background, we grew up in a very Catholic conservative background, and we didn't really have the talk. And I have 2 older sisters, so I think anything that I learned was from you and Sarah. But it really was not this, I don't remember ever, it was almost shame a little bit around the topic of it. And so I really am not prepared from my background to be able to speak to my own kids, but I would like to have a little bit of more openness, you know, so it's interesting.
Well, I'd love to, Vanessa, I'd love to hear your thoughts on why puberty starting earlier? When is it actually starting? What ticks off the kickoff of puberty? Is it breast buds? Is it period? How do you think about it?
So on average, puberty starting between 8 and 9 for girls and 9 and 10 for boys. And that's 2 to 3 years earlier than it happened for us. But that data is actually not new. So there was first a study in 1997 that girls' puberty was starting on average at 10. And then another study about 13 years later showed actually not 10, between 8 and 9. And then a study about boys in 2014 showed, because nobody was studying boys, they were just studying girls. And we can talk about why. But a researcher wanted to find out, well, what's happening with boys? And in fact, boys' puberty on average was starting between 9 and 10. But here's the thing. The first physical sign of puberty in girls are breast buds. And that comes from the estrogen circulating in their bodies. And everyone has some estrogen, all people of all genders. But when puberty begins, the estrogen levels rise and they're in relationship to the testosterone in people's bodies. All people also have testosterone, but it's the relative amounts that causes, the puberty you're going to go through. Because the ovaries, other parts of the body produce estrogen, but the ovaries are the main factories of estrogen, and the testicles are the main factories of testosterone. So if you have ovaries, that's where you're going to get more estrogen. If you have testicles, more testosterone. So breast buds poke out of everything. Like there is no hiding breast buds. So you get breast buds and you could be wearing a down coat and you can still see those suckers, right? And so the whole world knows. They take one look at you, they see your breast buds, they know you're in puberty. Whereas male puberty, the first sign is really, really, really slow penile and testicular growth. So from day to day, you're not going to notice it. And frankly, that's when boys start becoming more private. You're not giving them a bath anymore. They're not running around naked anymore. They're bathing or showering themselves. They're covered up, unless you have
not well, by the way, not well
without soap. I should say they're bathing and showering without soap and probably without shampoo, or using shampoo all over their bodies, which is another favorite. And so people often don't know boys are in puberty until they go to the pediatrician. The pediatrician is checking for that growth. We're not inspecting our children. We shouldn't be. But so it's so obvious for girls, which is why the researchers were noticing, whereas for boys, it's kind of under wraps. And so that's why it took longer for people to realize that boys' puberty was also starting earlier.
With puberty, and I'm speaking about my son too, is it big feelings? Is that a part of it? When they start to really swing to these almost unstable for no reason moments, it's is this it? Are we here yet? It feels
So one of our favorite doctors and researchers in this field is a pediatric endocrinologist, actually in the Bay Area, Kate, named Louise Greenspan. She's a researcher at Kaiser Permanente out there. And her comment is actually that the first sign of puberty is a slamming door. Because yes, the mood swings are real, and mood swings often get gendered. People are oh, girls have mood swings. No, everybody has mood swings. Because what happens is the sex hormones, estrogen, testosterone, progesterone, they don't gently rise over time in a really gradual, lovely way.
Nice.
Wouldn't that be lovely? They rise and fall on the order of hours. And so your kid may be a wonderful joy in the morning, off to school, yay. And then they come home in the afternoon and they're just a miserable mess. And then a few hours later, they're totally fine when you're saying goodnight to them. So the mood swings are really, really up and down. If I could pull up a graph, you'd see how much difference there is in the sex hormones in their bodies and brains. And so the circulating hormones in their brains are causing these mood swings. They're not just causing the physical development, but they're also causing the mood swings. And for kids, it doesn't feel great. For parents, obviously, we're what is happening here? Who is this child? but it also doesn't feel good to the kids. So on top of like the roller coaster, they're also feeling confusion, shame,
Mm-hmm.
embarrassment. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't feel great about the way they shouted at you this morning at breakfast. They don't feel great about like the uncontrollable tears that somehow erupt out of nowhere. And it's really like our work in educating parents and trusted adults is to really pay attention to the mood swings, because it's easy to dismiss them or be like, oh, my kid's just a jerk, when in fact it's like a really big part of this journey.
I think it's much easier to parent knowing that,
Totally.
right? It's like, you know, because
Relief.
it's like, oh, is it disrespect? Are they, you know, I don't want them to be jerks when they grow up. So then you want to double down and go hard at them. It's like, no, they're going through these emotional things that is natural. And I find it, I have more patience when I remember
100%.
that.
Yeah.
And we always say in our household, it's like, you can come back to us at any point. Go take a beat, you know, do what you need to do. And sometimes, you know, I have two different personalities and my kids going through this right now. One would like to be with us, one would like a little space, right? But you can always turn it around. So the second that you feel better, come up, we can talk it through, or you can give it a hug. We will not be mad moving forward. You turn it around and come back to me. That's
and that's, you know, kids need to feel like there's space for them to kind of go through this without being rejected, without feeling like they're a bad person. I mean, when we talk to kids about mood swings, you can hear a pin drop, because like all of a sudden someone's saying to them, oh, you're good. This is normal. It's okay. Like, you're not a bad person because you flipped out this morning. You're just going through it. And I think giving them that grace is super, super important. And one of the ways we do that is like by showing our own fallibility and showing the ways we mess up and make mistakes and get to take a do-over and get to sort of own that we messed up, but like here we are and we're still standing, we're still in relationship to another person, because that really models.
I would like that to happen less for me. I feel like I'm like showing that too much.
I mean, I have to tell you, I was moving an outdoor umbrella and sandals last night, and someone was trying to help me, and a friend of my son's, and this young man sort of pushed when I pulled, and I really hurt my toe. And these boys are 20. And my son came in, and I was like in a lot of pain. And I was actually like hosting a party at like 100 people at my house. And there I am on my kitchen sink with my foot up on the sink. And it's like a total mess. And my son came in and brought me like gauze, but he was like getting his like hands all over the gauze. And I was like, dude, I can't use the gauze now. Like, you've just made it like unhygienic. And I totally shouted at him. And, you know, I could see his face. And this morning I texted him. He went off to work, and I texted him, and I'm like, I am so sorry. You were just trying to help, and I snapped at you.
Yeah.
And I really apologize. And like, he's almost an adult, and I'm still pulling that stuff with him. Like, but what matters is the repair. What matters is owning it and coming back. Like, we're never not going to shout at our kids or freak out or lose our patience. We're human. It's what we do next that really matters.
Oh, I had a situation the other day that this is so silly, but work had been really stressful. The kids were running late, and I'm always like, get out the door, Mom, we're late. And I was carrying, Kate's going to make fun of me because I talk about sourdough too much, but I was carrying sourdough starter.
It's her whole personality.
It's my whole personality. And I dropped the starter. And for anybody who knows the sourdough, it's a dramatic scene because it's hard to replicate. And I lost my shit. I mean, I was like so crazy. And my kids were just witness to it. And then I had to come back and be like, that didn't matter. Sourdough starter does not matter. This is not a big deal. You know, this is not your fault for being late. And I just like I literally laughed in the mirror later to myself, like, get a grip. Like, what are you talking about? Of course they have emotional swings because you're a lunatic. Oh my God. You know?
Well, and that's, I mean, the intersection of perimenopause and puberty is a whole other.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say that. What cosmic. Yeah.
I mean, it's a series of words I will not use on air, but you can picture exactly. It's a hot mess. I'll say that. Literally a hot mess. Yes.
Yeah.
So tell me, so from breast buds to like periods, because I think in my mind I was like, oh, periods, puberty.
Right. And that's
So
really
I'm even
common.
getting re-educated on like sort of the buildup and the signs. And talk to me a little bit about like what's the normal time frame between breast buds and the other stuff.
So periods, the first period is actually a middle marker of puberty. It's not the beginning of puberty. And there's a lot of stuff that needs to or does happen in preparation for a first period. So estrogen has to be circulating in the body for a while. When we were growing up, the distance between first breast buds and a period was probably more like 2 years. But now puberty doesn't just start earlier, it lasts longer. So it's like the timeline has stretched. And so the average age for a first period is still like around 12. It was about 12 and a half. And, about 30 years ago, it's now about 12 and a quarter. So it's only moved.
Well, that's later than I thought. I don't know. I just had been hearing stories like, you got to be ready. It's happening at 10.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
there are, now that's average, right? So there are kids for whom it starts earlier than 12, if 12 is the average. And there's obviously kids for whom it starts later. And it's an interesting thing because it means that girls have breast buds. And then the other thing that estrogen does on the body is it causes the hips to widen. The body adds fat in new places. It's really common for kids of all genders, but girls, with respect to estrogen, to gain extra weight, like more their weight growth chart is going to look different. They're going to gain more weight than they have traditionally in the past. That's the body preparing for a first period. And what's fascinating, and not a lot of people know this, you're born with all your eggs. So you're born with millions of eggs in your ovaries already. The egg cells are already in your ovaries. And then by the time you get a first period, there's a few 100,000 eggs. So even over the course of those first, let's say 12 years or decade or so, those eggs, you don't have those eggs anymore. So it's not that you have to grow the eggs. The eggs are there. It's preparing the rest of the body for menstruation.
Because your body actually is like releasing them like a period, or they just go away?
They just die. In the ovary? Yeah. They just get reabsorbed by the body. And so, yeah, it's totally fascinating. But when you tell like a group of girls that, it's pretty, because they're microscopic and they're so fascinated to think about millions of microscopic eggs in their body.
Well, that's interesting. So what is the way you would say to a parent to tell the girls what they're going through or what they're about to go through? Like, how do you describe that to them in a way that I don't know,
isn't scary?
So, so let's say if you know the average age of puberty for a girl is between 8 and 9, and then you may have a kid who's starting to have breast buds, and so you want to let them know that your body's going to start changing, and that's really normal, but everybody's on a different timeline, and like your body might start changing, but your friend's body might not start changing for a while, or vice versa. You want to let them know that like you're there for any questions. You don't want to back up the dump truck and just like give them the whole the whole lot of information. So it's just bite-sized pieces. So one conversation might be about, hey, I don't know if you noticed, but like your body's starting to change. And I noticed that, you have some what are called breast buds, and that's normal, but it's really good to know they can be kind of sensitive. So if they're feeling a little bit uncomfortable, you can always come tell me. Do you think you want to maybe look for like a little cami or bras? And some kids will say, absolutely not. I'm not interested. Some kids who don't even have breast buds are super excited to get like a little bra. So, they're not always going to be like thrilled and excited to have every conversation. And then, with boys, it might start with, have you noticed that different people are like all different sizes now in your grade? And some kids have like grown a lot and some kids haven't grown. That's really normal. your body's going to start changing. And part of that is growth spurts. And, I'm always here. So starting with kind of the like less intimidating stuff. But what's nice about starting younger is that there's less cynicism with younger kids. They're less self-aware. They're more comfortable being curious and inquisitive. I'll give you a perfect example. Speaking of periods, so people always ask like, oh, how do I know when my daughter's going to get her period? Because it's like, there's no, you're not set on a like, okay, on this day at this hour, you're going to get your period. It's hard to predict, except the best sign or predictor that a girl's body is getting ready to start menstruating is that she'll have vaginal discharge for like a couple of months, almost like every day. And when you tell a group of 8 or 9-year-olds that, they're like, oh, and I like to describe it as this is like, some people think it's gross. I think it's funny. It's like, you say it's kind of like egg whites. And then when it dries in your underwear, it's like a white kind of crust. And the 8 and 9-year-old girls are like, oh, that's what that is. I was wondering. And they're not ashamed and they're not self-conscious. And they're like, totally. If you say that to a group of 40-year-old women, they want to like hide under their chairs. They want to run out of the room. Like the younger kids haven't been socialized to see it as shameful or embarrassing. Like they're open-minded and they're curious and they're interested. So that's like another pitch for starting younger is like you get to them before the sort of cynicism or shame, or like the acculturation.
Well, and if you talk about it just like, oh, here, this is what's going on with your body. It just doesn't have, it doesn't feel as weighted, if you know
100%.
It's like, oh, yeah, that's normal. This is what 8-year-old bodies do. This is what 9-year-old bodies do.
That's exactly right.
Like if you notice that, that's totally normal.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, I just feel like that feels so much more approachable. And like, it also just fits in normal life. Yeah,
I mean, stuff comes up. Maybe you're watching a TV show together and someone talks about getting a bra, or maybe, I don't know, you go to the movies as there's something about like crushes, and that's another part of growing up. So there's always all these opportunities to just have, as you guys said earlier, bite-sized conversations, not big, overwhelming conversations.
Our pediatrician, he did a great job with this, but I have my daughter is very tall. My 2 sisters are over 6 feet, so she potentially could be that height, but she seems to be developing quicker, and it's kind of a scary thing. And he was just like, just do what in your household makes sense. Like, don't think about, because, as moms, we all get together and it's like, are you doing that yet? Are you shaving your legs yet? Are you wearing the bralette yet? Are you doing, and you kind of feel like, oh, I don't want to jump too far to that because I don't want to age her quicker. But it's kind of like every kid's different, and just be okay with that. And I really needed to hear that, because it's like, okay, it's not a big deal.
Just because
if we need the bralettes before anybody else, or whatever.
And just because she looks older, chronologically, she's still her age. She's still developmentally the age she is. And it's really important that she's treated that way, because the world, as particularly girls develop, the world sexualizes them. And our job is to push back on that and say, my 8-year-old, my 10-year-old, my 12-year-old is still 8 or 10 or 12. She still has the mindset, the maturity, the development, and like, let's keep her the age she is and treat her that way, because it's so important.
That's what feels so different about this conversation, though. It's like we're having puberty conversations with an 8-year-old. I never would have thought that. And like, sweet Lola, I mean, she's not there yet on understanding all the nuances of sex, for example, or all of the elements that in my mind, were sort of the foundation and understanding of puberty. So coming up with a new way to talk about it
is helpful.
And just like, there's an age appropriate version of puberty.
Well, and this story has nothing to do with puberty, but it was just one of those heartbreaking mom moments where it's about the age of the kid. So we go into our grocery store and they give free cookies to the kids, and the kids always love it, right? And I have a 4-year-old as well. And I had my 2 daughters with me, and the girl behind the counter was like, well, she's too old for a cookie. And I was like, give her the cookie. I was like, she's only, 7 going on 8. Like, she's not old. She just looks taller. And I was like, you better give her that cookie. I was like, but it broke my heart, because I was like, kids are people are looking at these kids in a way that's like they still are very young. You know what I mean?
And
It's
you
like
can
it's
you can
heartbreaking.
have that conversation with your daughter. You can say, "Have you noticed that sometimes people think you're older than you actually are?" And then just like wait and see what she says. And she might say, "Yeah, it's kind of annoying," or, "Oh, I don't know. I guess I really never noticed that." But like just raising it and naming it for
Yeah.
her. And then if she wants to talk about it, coming up with ways for her to say, "Hey, I know I look older, but I'm actually only 8." And like,
Yeah. Right.
and if you're there, for example, when she deserves a goddamn cookie, you
I know,
say,
right?
"You know what? She's 8. I know she looks older, but she's 8." And like letting the world know to treat her the age she is, because that's really hard for the early bloomers, boys and girls. Like they feel like they're expected to behave a certain way when their brains are still the brains of an 8-year-old. And we have to respect that.
Yeah.
Can I move us into like one of the things that's happening in my home is my daughter has a lot of fear about getting her period. And she'll even like the other day she has these really cute white jean shorts and I like had laid out an outfit and she was like, "I don't want to wear these because what if I get my period?" And I was like, "Oh honey, like I like kind of, when they catch you off guard and you like don't have the perfect thing teed up." And I was like, that no way that happens today. But then I was thinking later like, okay, I got to somehow talk to her in a way that's like, give her more details on what this is going to look like and the build up. And like, she's creating stories in her head that I need to sort of navigate and manage. And I was just kind of wanting your expert advice here of like, how do we make this first period? How do we make them feel prepared and like it's not this big scary thing?
So we really recommend getting a bunch of different period products and showing them how to use everything. Now, it's super important they understand what a period is. So we want to make sure kids know it's not an injury, right? It's not like bleeding from a cut. It's not all that much blood at all. It's like only like, I think 4 to 7 tablespoons of blood over the course of like a one period. So they think of it as, I worked with a sexuality educator many years ago who used to say, kids think it's like whoosh, like it's all coming like, an avalanche. And she's like, they need to know it's just drip. And so that's super important that they understand they're not injured. They're not, and they're not hurt. It's a normal part of it, that it's a combination of water and tissue and blood and mucus. But because everything else is either white or clear and the blood is red, it comes out looking all like blood, but it's actually not all that much blood. And then teaching them how to use different products. So going to the pharmacy, picking up like lots of different pads. And even if, they're not going to be ready to use a tampon initially, showing them how a tampon works, how to put a pad in your underwear, how to throw out a pad when it's been used, getting some period underwear and keeping it, all of this stuff in a period pack that they can take to school or on sleepovers or, sports tournaments. So helping them feel prepared and knowledgeable makes them, I think, less scared, because what I've seen over the years is that girls this age really worry about logistics, right? It's the what ifs that they worry about. What if I get it and I'm wearing white jeans? What if I get my period and my male teacher, I don't know how to tell my male teacher that I need to go to the bathroom? What if I get my period and I don't have any products? Who do I go to in the school building? What if I
such the female brain.
It's like they're planning ahead and they're scenario building, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you want them to feel prepared for all the eventualities. And even so far as to keep a sweatshirt in their backpack so that if they do get their period and they're caught off guard, they can wrap something around their waist and, get home. I mean, I had a girl who was in one of our puberty workshops many years ago, and she's a ballerina, and her mom texted me and said, in the middle of the Nutcracker, she, like during intermission, she realized that she'd gotten her period. She went to the bathroom and she saw that she had gotten her first period. she said, but she knew because of the workshop that you told her that it's not like a big gush. It's just drip, drip. And she knew she would be okay till the end of the performance.
Mm.
And it was like such a sign about what a little bit of information does to help reassure kids and help them feel prepared. The
Yeah.
other thing that's important for girls to know is that a first period is usually brown. The blood has oxidized. It's kind of been sitting at the, in the uterus and in the vagina for a while. And so it's oxidized. So it's turned brown. And a lot of kids think they've pooped their pants. Like they don't know that it's blood
Interesting.
because it's brown.
I didn't
And
even
then
think
they're
about
like,
that.
oh
Yeah.
God, that's so embarrassing. When in fact they didn't. It's their, it's their first period. So that's another, and that's like a funny conversation to have with a kid. Like, oh my God, I forgot to tell you this. This is hilarious. Do you know that often a first period is brown and a lot of people think they've pooped their pants? So like, kiddo, if that happens to you, you just come and tell me whatever happens. Like I'm right there with you. I'm not going to judge you, and just like letting them feel at ease and supported and prepared.
Yeah.
I have a question about period underwear because this was not a product that we grew up with. It feels like newer and honestly great, looks great. But my daughter asked me, well, what if I need to change it in the middle of the day? Do I bring extra underwear and then am I like bagging it? And I was honest to God, I was literally like, I have no idea.
You shouldn't need to change period underwear during the
wear
day.
it
You
during the
wear
whole
it, it
school day.
absorbs.
Okay.
And then you wash it when you get home. And there's different absorbencies. So if it's all a kid is wearing, instead of a pad and they're not using a tampon or a menstrual cup, then you would want an absorbency, an underwear with more absorbency.
Okay.
Other people wear them as sort of a backup. So like they'll wear tampon, but then they'll also wear period underwear instead of wearing a pad. It just like feels better on the body. And, environmentally it's better. So everybody's got, and there's also period swimsuits. So for kids who want to swim, but aren't comfortable using tampons, or again, they want to back up.
I didn't know.
So the period swimsuits are great also, so that they're not kept out of activities they enjoy.
Yeah.
Before summer camp, it's great to pack all these things to go through all of them with a kid. If they're at day camp or sleepaway camp, whatever it is. I mean, I was just with someone recently at a work event. And she goes, oh my God, this is perfect timing. She was at the work event with me and she's getting a text from her daughter that she just got her first period. She was like, it's like seeing you brought it on. I was like, yes, I didn't have anything to do with it. But yeah, I think just like, they had talked about it. She had shown her how to use different stuff. So she felt prepared.
Yeah. I think it's easier, especially when you have sisters. But like even my son, so my son's the oldest, he's going to experience girls in his class maybe, and we even had a situation where there was a girl on a swim team, and he was like, oh, she was injured, she was bleeding. And, I kind of let it go. But I thought there's an educational moment though, where I almost need to have a conversation with him about it. Like, you may see this, or if you see something on, like somebody's pants or a classmate or whatever, don't say, like maybe let them know if they're not aware of it, but like, don't make a big deal of it. Like kind of almost prepare the boy as well, because that's going to happen. And I want them to be supportive.
Yeah. I mean, you want them to be good friends, good partners. I mean, boys should know about periods, and you can even say, hey, what would you do if like your friend leaked and you could see it on her pants, for example? And, do you have an extra sweatshirt you could give her to wrap around her waist? Or I know moms who give their boys like tampons to carry around in their bag so that if a friend needs one, they have it. Like there's all sorts of ways to help them be empathic. And when we teach kids of different genders about the other gender's experience through puberty, it builds understanding, it builds empathy, it builds connection. Instead of having everyone be a mystery to each other, they can understand, oh, we're all going through it. We've all got good parts of this journey and harder parts of this journey. And so it's actually a nice thing to do with your boys at home or in schools. Like if your school's not teaching your kid about everybody's puberty, not just their puberty, you want to get in there and say, hey, I want my son to learn about menstruation. I don't want him to just learn about erections and nocturnal emissions. Like, I want him to hear about everybody's perspective and experience.
Can we talk about boy puberty a little bit more? My son is a little bit younger, so I'm not quite there yet, and this is probably just boys. I feel like it's almost been since birth, but the one thing I'm always like, oh, hands out of the pants, like go wash your hands. Like we don't, and it's like, and maybe I'm noticing more of that. I'm just sort of trying to figure out, is that part of puberty? Is that just a bad habit we have? Like what's going on with hands in the pants and boy puberty?
I mean, boys, babies stick their hands in their diapers, in their underwear. I mean, it feels good. So like if you've discovered something that felt good, you'd keep doing it. I mean, it gets socialized out of us. So I think what you want to do is set boundaries with them without shaming them. So like, hey kiddo, I know it feels really good to put your hand down your pants and kind of hang out, but when we're all together, it's actually like it feels uncomfortable for other people. So like go have fun in your bedroom, in the bathroom.
I've said not polite. Does that feel right? It's just that's like a manners thing.
You don't want him to feel shame though, I would think, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I think
I was trying to think it's like no elbows on the table, no hands in the pants when other
right.
people are around.
I don't think that's like a bad thing to say. I think the goal with all this is to find neutral language. So like not everybody's comfortable with that. So you just want to be respectful of other people's feelings and boundaries. And say, like, recognize, hey, dude, I get it. Like, I'm sure it feels great for you, but like, and there are places that you can do that. And by the way, I've had moms of girls reach out to me and say, like, my daughter's doing stuff on the couch in the living room, and like, it's not comfortable for the rest of us. And I'm like, great, set a boundary. And they're like, but I don't want to shame her. So the whole idea is to say, here are places where you can do that. Because the hands down the pants then eventually evolves into like actually masturbating. And, when boys get further into puberty and, start to have erections, start to be able to like masturbate until they ejaculate, you're like, you really don't want them doing that in like the shared family spaces. And you also like the 45-minute shower is a real phenomenon. Like boys, they'll use up, particularly in California, like, hey, we don't have, our water bill is like going to be astronomical. So like, can we figure out another way? Like,
we can't afford your masturbating.
Right. Like, hey, no shame, like go for it. Like, no problem. But like, please don't take a 45-minute shower. Like we live in California. Can you figure out another way? So it's about walking that line with them, where you're not shaming them, but you're also setting a boundary, because that's our job as parents. Like we're consistently setting boundaries about all aspects of their lives.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to touch on was a little bit of the tech side and porn. So, kids are seeing porn at a very young age. And again, it's not necessarily that they're seeking it out, but they're just coming across it. Or, it's a group chat or it's YouTube
or a friend's
that has
phone and hey, look at this.
Yeah. So do you have any advice in that space on like how to navigate talking to your children about porn before they get exposed?
Yeah. So the data that we use, which is the Common Sense Media report from 2023 about porn exposure, found that by age 12, that was the average age of porn exposure for kids in this country, and that 15% of 10-year-olds have been exposed. But that's 2023, and the research would have been collected even before that. So that's old data, and our assumption is that exposure is earlier as more kids have access to more devices. That, you really, by 10 years old, you really need to have a conversation with a kid about porn exposure. And in order to do that, you have to have had a basic sex conversation, because you are going to use the word sex in helping them understand what porn is and why it's not for kids. And it's videos or images of people, by themselves or with other people doing sexual acts. Well, they got to know what sex is. So before you can even have the porn conversation, you got to have just a basic sex. One way people choose to have sex is they might put a penis inside a person's vagina. It should feel good. They should have permission. Hopefully, they love each other and they laugh and they enjoy it. So that's like one way, right? You want to make sure, because the people have sex in a lot of different ways. And eventually, as kids get older, you're going to have those other conversations. But that's the, one initial conversation. And then with porn, you've had the sex conversation. With porn, you want to say, hey, have you ever heard the word porn or pornography? And they might say, oh, yeah. Oh, how would you define it? And they'll say, well, I don't really know. Like, I think it's bad and it has to do with sex, right? They sort of have vague sense of it, even if they've seen it. And you want to cover a few things, right? It's not for kids. So if anybody shows it to you or you see it, I want you to know it's not for you. You haven't done anything wrong, but it's like not for you. If you see it, you can always come talk to me. I'm not going to freak out. And then it's not real. It's usually actors or people being paid to do these things. It's not a real relationship. Now, you don't get into like the whole OnlyFans situation, right? That's maybe a conversation you have with a teenager. That's not the conversation you have with your 10-year-old. You just want them to know it's not real. It's not what real relationships look like or what real sex looks like. You want to make sure they know it's not for kids, it's for adults. And you want to make sure they know they can always come talk to you. And like, honestly, it's a 3-minute conversation and you're out.
Yeah. I really like that advice because you want to hesitate a little bit because you're like, oh, I don't want to overexpose them, right? But the alternative is they see it and that's what they think sex is, and that's the worst.
And it's terrifying.
That they,
the free porn that kids get exposed to is not like ethical, feminist, consensual sex. It's non-consensual. It's violent. It's misogynistic. They may be doing things that are like, your kid is like, I don't even know what's happening here.
Right.
And their bodies don't look like our bodies, right? They have been enhanced and changed and bleached and waxed and, and they've been cast for certain aspects of maybe their penis size or their breast size or whatever it is. So like, you don't want a kid looking at that and thinking, oh, that's what my body's supposed to look like when I grow up, as much as you don't want the pornographers writing the narrative for what sex is. Like someday we hope our kids will have loving, respectful, meaningful sexual relationships with another person. Like that's a beautiful part of being an adult. But if that's what they see, that's what they think sex is, those people are those strangers who are making money off of this are writing the narrative for what your kids, that's not the sex you hope they someday have. It's completely the opposite. So as scary as it is, I always say to audiences, like, do you have like a little bit of vomit in the back of your throat thinking about having this conversation with your kid, right? It's scary. But if you don't do it, someone else is going to write that narrative for your kid. And it's not the narrative you want to be written.
Yeah.
Well, and I think parents don't understand. It's not just Pornhub. Like there are images that you can't believe on YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest,
Google Maps,
TikTok. Yeah. So it's just like, I think they think, oh, my kid doesn't have the internet on their phone. And, and I think they don't realize how much of this gets shared in group chats, on a friend's device.
Totally.
Like your kid is only as safe as their friend with the worst parental controls. So it's like, they will be exposed to this. You got to get them ready. And I do think we can do it in a way that just says, hey, if you see anything that makes you uncomfortable, stop, walk away. No, that's not kids. Tell me, like, we want to, my job is to keep you safe. And like, those are not good images for kids.
And then not
freak out. And like, even if you're screaming inside your
Mm-hmm.
own head, making sure they feel like you can handle it. And that's true of all this stuff. It's like about porn and it's not about porn. It's about all these big things that they encounter when they're growing up and making sure they know you can handle. It's the same with mood swings. Hey, I can handle your mood swings. Like I am your safe place for all of this stuff. But you can't avoid the conversation because it's happening whether you like it or not. And even with parental controls, like they can't stop everything from coming through. And as you said, Kate, okay, well, maybe they have parental controls on their device, but their friend doesn't. and all of a sudden they're exposed to it through somebody else. So like there's always some way for this to reach kids, and we want to get there before this content does.
Well, and I just think talking about it does keep your kid young, as opposed to a lot of parents will say, well, I don't want to sexualize them early. I don't want to talk about it early. And I'm like, you're not protecting them. Like actually what the way to keep them young.
That's exactly right.
Is to give them age appropriate information, which doesn't have to be everything. You know, I do think there's a way to talk about porn to a 6 and 7-year-old that doesn't include full blown details of sex and everything. It's, hey, these are pictures and, you know, bodies and these are private parts, and we can do it about private parts, and then we can do about it sex when they're ready for that. And then we can, you know, talk about the different layers of that when they're ready. But it's like, we got to talk about it. We got to make it not taboo. We got to make it not awkward. So yeah, right in your wheelhouse.
Vanessa, this was such a great conversation. Thank you for being here with us. Thank you for walking us through and giving us advice on this awkward topic, right? And we will put all of your links in the show notes, but do you want to tell everyone where they can find you and what's coming next for you?
You can find everything we do at lessawkward.com, because we make everything less awkward. And you can find us on Instagram at less.awkward. And I have a new book coming out in January called Teenhood, and it's all about raising teens with joy and pushing back on the narrative that raising teens is awful and should be dreaded, because I think they're amazing, and it can be amazing for our relationship, but we need to push back on the story that the world tells us that it's an awful stage of life to be endured. So that's what's next for me. And we have a health and sex ed curriculum that's in schools around the country. It's called That Health Class, wink, wink. And we love just getting as much good information as we can out to as many adults as we possibly can, so that kids grow up more knowledgeable, empowered, and safer.
Love it.
Thank you guys for having me. This was so fun.
That was awesome. And we could have talked to Vanessa probably the whole day. So we had to cut it off at some point, but maybe we'll be lucky enough to have him back on our podcast in the future to continue the conversation.
Well, DM us if we missed any questions that are top of mind for you.
Great call. All right, let's move into the tech tip.
Okay, I thought we could ride that wave and talk specifics about parents who want to set up better protections against porn. So 4 things you need to do. 1, block the porn websites. If you are on Apple, use Apple Family Sharing and make sure limit adult content is turned on. On Google Family Link, make sure it's on restricted mode. 2, YouTube is a really common access point. So if your kid watches any YouTube, honestly, do it if you even think they don't, because they do. Get on there and turn on restricted mode. That will limit most porn. There's a lot on YouTube, so that's a must. 3, most kids get porn shared in the group chat or on a friend's device, but make sure you know who they're chatting with. Make sure you're supervising their messages in those first few years. That's critical because that's a big access point. And then lastly, withhold social media access. Every social media platform, including YouTube, but also Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, tons of porn. Even when you turn on those settings, there's like a lot of weird ways around it. So just do not let them have accounts, especially in elementary school. Okay, let's move on.
Advice.
All right, what's your obsession?
My obsession. We were just talking about how I don't shop, but it is a clothing item I just got because it's for the wedding this weekend. But there was a little boutique in Franklin that I went to.
It's called Boutique.
Boutique.
I remember I came home one day from, I don't know, business school or something. I said, I learned that it's boutique, guys. We've always been saying boutique from Southern Indiana. And you know what our family said? Our older sister, she goes, they're wrong.
Nah. Nah, I'm going to still say boutique. Well, okay. So you can get this dress online though, but I got a very classic dress that looks so good on. And quite frankly, the style of it, I never would have really picked ever. But trying it on, it fits so well.
Tell me more.
It's very flattering. So it's Vinnie Louise is the brand. And I'll link it. It's vinnielouise.com. It's in Nashville here.
Okay.
And there's a few locations. but it is a very classic kind of square neck kind of cotton top.
I love a square neck.
Yes, it looks so flattering, and it's tight at the top, and then it kind of is like kind of flares out slightly on the
like
side.
A-line a bit?
A-line, and it is shorter. It's like half
Midi.
calf, midi. But it looks so classic.
That's
and
a
you can
classic
wear
silhouette.
it with sandals, and you can also wear it with heels and like elevate it. And
So it's cotton, or what's the material?
It is, I guess it's cotton. The top part feels like cotton. The bottom
Okay.
part has almost a different slightly material, but I'm sure it's a version of cotton. But it's very comfortable, and it looks really nice.
Now, did you go pattern? Is it solid? What's the fabric?
Well, in true fashion, I bought 2 colors
Here we
because I loved
go.
it so
Mhm,
much.
mhm,
So I
mhm.
have a black, full-on black classic.
Classic.
Then for the actual wedding, I got it's like blue floral. And again, the
Pretty.
blue floral is not necessarily me, but it looks really lovely.
Ooh, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. I just tried it on and it felt good, and that's hard to come by. So I have to share this dress because when you go in, you try something on and it feels like it could be for many occasions and it
Mhm.
feels good.
Yeah.
I was like, here. And it feels trendy to me.
Yep.
Okay. That's it. What's your obsession?
My makeup was getting, you know, when you get the bronzer and you only have the rim and you're taking your brush and it is like down to the nitty gritty.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that well.
And then the other day I had like my blending sponge, and Grace actually goes, "Are you going to ever replace that?" And I was like, all right, there's a couple signs here that it's time to hit up the Sephora.
Mhm.
So I went to Sephora, actually the one at Kohl's, when I went with to get some Nike stuff for Calvin. And I was like, okay, I need to be thoughtful here because I want stuff that's like center of the fairway. So I bought 3 things that I think are just like all-timers.
Okay.
One,
Hit me.
the Hoola bronzer by Benefit. I had gone away from this for a while and I went back and I'm like, here we go. We're back. It's the perfect bronzer. It's a
I actually
bestseller. I don't think I'm
don't-
like,
I don't have a bronzer right now. Tan does not have a bronzer. I need this in my life.
you
I'm going to
need
get
this.
it. I'm gonna
It's a
get it.
powder. So again, for my skin, which I tend to be a little oily, I kind of like powdered products versus
Uh-huh.
the sticks. But this is a perfect powdered bronzer. Hoola. Just
Okay.
trust.
All right.
The second thing, I love Rare Beauty's blush. Now, this is a liquid that you dab on. And I
Mhm.
feel like with the powdered bronzer and just a little dab here, it's like the perfect amount. This is Selena Gomez's brand, but the color Happy for summer is perfect on me.
Your cheekbones are looking delightful for our face structure.
See? Hoola.
Yeah.
And it's a little of the Happy Rare Beauty blush.
I didn't know we had a cheekbone until you came on today.
Well.
Now I'm aware.
I don't before makeup and I do after makeup. So that's where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also, I had been using these cheapy buy off Amazon blending things. And I'm like, Kate, maybe it's time for a brush. Like, so I use Merit for like cover up, and I can't wear like a foundation, but I got the Merit brush, and it's like a blending brush, and it's better. And I just like feel good. I feel like.
And you're
it's
using it for
working.
everything, or what are you using it for? Just the bronzer?
I use it. No, I actually only use it for my like cover up, the Merit stick, the like,
yep.
I think some people wear it as full foundation, but I just do like dabbies and under eye concealer, which is a must. And then I use this Merit blending brush, which works really well.
Okay. I am going to look into this because I love a good brush, but I have had, speaking of gross sponge, what is the
blending? What
the
are we calling
blending
them?
sponge,
Now
whatever
I'm
it
saying
is.
it wrong.
I don't know. But I have tried to replace mine and it doesn't go on as smooth. So I keep going back to the old one and I'm like, it's working great. Why would I replace it? But I think it's time for a brush.
Because it's disgusting.
Yeah, but it doesn't, new ones don't work as well.
I'm telling you, this blending brush is where it's at.
Okay. All right.
So these are my 3, like now I'm like, I will have these forever. No, well, not this specific one, but it's like, I'm
Till they
recommitting-
discontinue it.
Well, I'm recommitting to like these 3 products that I will continue to use. Cause it's like, it's what I like the best.
I love it. And
Try something
every
new?
like
No.
6 months, I like to refresh my makeup a little bit with like a summer bronzer, and get like the new brush. I think it needs it. Makeup every 6 months.
I'm
new
horrible.
thing.
I don't even want to think about how long I had that last batch, but
Yeah.
maybe that's the new me.
Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate our review. Appreciate you sharing it with your mom group chat if you think anyone would like this, or see a clip of us online and tag somebody. That's how we're growing. It's just word of mouth. So we appreciate y'all so much. And that's a wrap. Lilas.
Lilas.